Hi Rajesh.
Hey Priya. Om Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Govinda Govinda Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि यस्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितितीर्षतां तमोन्धं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुम् उपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां योगीन्द्राय नमस्तस्मै शुकाय ब्रह्मरूपिणे संसारसर्पदष्टं यो विष्णुरातममुमुचते कालव्यालमुखग्रास त्रासनिर्नाशहेतवे श्रीमद्भागवतं शास्त्रं कलौकीरेण भाषितम् एतस्मादपरं किञ्चित् मनःशुद्ध्यै न विद्यते जन्मान्तरे भवेत् पुण्यं तदा भागवतं लभेत् ज्ञानवैराग्यसम्पूर्णान् हरिभक्तिः परायणान् पूर्वाचार्यातहं वन्दे सम्प्रदायप्रवर्तकान् भगवन्नाम साम्राज्य लक्ष्मी सर्वस्वविग्रहं श्रीमद्बोधेन्द्रयोगीन्द्र देशिकेन्द्रम् उपास्महे कलिकालोचितं धर्मं नाम संकीर्तनात्मकं निर्णेतुम् अवतीर्णं तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे हरे रामेति कृष्णेति नाम संकीर्तनं सदा लोकक्षेमाय कुर्वन्तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्तेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यते प्रकृतिभिः शुश्रूषिभिस्तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्षः कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुक्त्यर्थं भवसागरे मनोरथो मदीयोऽयं सफलः सर्वदा त्वया निर्विघ्नेनैव कर्तव्यो दासोऽहं तव केशव श्रीहरये नमः श्रीहरये नमः श्रीहरये नमः गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय Good afternoon, welcome everyone. Okay, so we are to do the review from 4.517. We'll do 20 stanzas, the total 40 stanzas. So we'll switch 2020. Let me see. Okay, Vasu, can you do one half? And Meera, you can do one half.
Yeah, I can do the first half.
Okay.
எது வரைக்கும் பண்ணணும்னு மட்டும் சொல்லுங்களேன் ப்ளீஸ்.
I think you start from 17 of 4.5 and then go to 10 of 4.6.
ஓகே ஓகே. ஸ்ரீகிருஷ்ண பரபிரம்மனே நமஹ. கேட்கறதா?
கேக்குது.
भृगुम्बबन्धमणिमां वीराभद्रा प्रजापतिं चन्देश पूषणां देवं भगं नन्दीश्वरो गृहीत.
The first line after comma Veerabhadraf. I think you added an extra R. Yeah.
Okay, Veerabhadra. Okay. सर्व एव त्विजो दृष्ट्वा सदस्यस्य दिवौकसः तैरद्यमानः सुभृशं ग्रावभिर्नैकदा द्रवम् जुह्वत श्रुवहस्तस्य संरुषूनि भगवान् भवः भृगो लुलुञ्चे सदसि यो हसश्मश्रु दर्शयन् அது கரெக்டா சொன்னேனா
First line after the comma, Shmashroni, ish mattum, Shmashroni.
ஸ்மஷ்ரூனி அந்த யோ ஹசச் அப்படி சொல்லணுமா எப்படி சொல்லணும்
Correct, correct. Yo hasach, that will come as one word, just like you said. Yo hasach, Shmashru darshayan.
भगस्य नेत्रे भगवान् पाति तस्य रुषा भुवि उज्जहार सदश्चोक्ष्णा यः शपन्तम् असूचत् पूष्णश्चापातयद्दन्तान् कालिङ्गस्य यथा बलः शप्यमाने गरिमणि यो हसद्दर्शयन्दतः आक्रम्योरसि तक्षस्य शितधारेण हेतिना छिन्दन्नपि तदुद्धर्तुं नाशक्नोत् त्र्यम्बकस्तदा अस्त्रान्वितैरेवम् अनिर्भिन्न त्वचं हरः विस्मयन् परमापन्नो दद्यौ पशुपतिश्चिरं दृष्ट्वा संज्ञ அது எப்படி சொல்லணும் சாரி ராஜேஷ்
Sanyapanam.
ஓகே दृष्ट्वा संज्ञपनं योगं पशूनां स पतिर्मखे यजमान पशोः कस्य कायात् तेना हर्च तेना हरच्चिरः साधुवादस्तदा तेषां कर्म तत्तस्य पश्यत् संशतं பஷ்யதாம் கொடுத்திருக்கு அது சம்சதம் மாத்திக்கணுமா நான் சம்சதாம் பூதா பிரேத பிசாசானாம் அந்நேஷாம் தத் விபர்யயः जुहावैतश्चिरस्तस्मिन् दक्षिणाग्नावमर्षितः तद्धेव यजनं दग्ध्वा प्रातिशद्गुह्यकालयम् इति श्री ओके तदेव देव यजनं नो the full ஒரே வாட்டி சொல்லிறேன்
somebody's not on mute. Go ahead, yeah.
जुहावैतश्चिरस्तस्मिन् दक्षिणाग्नावमर्षितः तदेव यज्ञं दग्ध्वा प्रातिष्ठद् गुह्यकालयम्.
Yeah, the first word, the second and first word, tad deva, double the is coming there. Tad deva yajanam dagdva.
Tad deva yajanam dagdva pratishtad गुह्यकालयम् इति श्रीमद् भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुरस्कन्धे दक्षयज्ञ विद्वंसो नाम पञ्चमोऽध्यायः. षष्ठोऽध्यायः. मैत्रेय उवाच अत देवगणाः सर्वे रुद्राणि कैस्पराजिताः शूलपत्तिश निस्त्रिं च गदा परिग मुद्गरैः सञ्चिन्न भिन्न सर्वाङ्गः सर्त्विक् सभ्या भयाकुलाः स्वयंभुवे नमस्कृत्य कार्ष्ण्ये नैतन्यवेदयन्.
The first Vasu, the before the comma of the first line, sarvangaha. Okay, awesome. Okay, sarvangaha. Okay. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Okay. उपलभ्य पुरैवैतद् भगवान् अब्ज सम्भवः नारायणश्च विश्वात्मा न कस्याद् वरं मीयतुः तदा कर्ण्य विभुः प्राह तेजीयसि कृताघसि क्षेमाय तत्र सा भूयात् न प्रायेण बुभूषताम् अतापि यूयं कृत किल्बिषा भवन् ये बर्हिषो भाजं परादुः प्रसाद यद्वं परिशुद्धचेतसा क्षिप्रप्रसादं
No,
Vedangripatmam.
pra sound, yeah.
प्रगृहीत हीताङ्घ्रिपद्मं करेक्टா
Pragrhitangri padmam.
प्रग्री கிடையாது இல்லையா
இல்ல
ஓகே
pragrhitangri.
प्रगृहीताङ्घ्रिपद्मम् आशा आशासाना जीवितम् अध्वरस्य लोकः सपाल कुपितेन यस्मिन् तमाशु देवं प्रिययाय विहीनं அது எப்படி அந்த வார்த்தை எப்படி
Full
சொல்லுவோம்
stop. Shamapayadvam.
क्षमापयध्वं हृदि विदं दुरुक्तैः नाहं न यज्ञो न याहं न यज्ञो न च यूयमान्ये ये देहभाजो मुनयश्च तत्त्वं विदुः प्रमाणं बलवीर्ययोर्वा यस्यात्मतन्त्रस्य का उपायं विदित्सेत् sorry स इत्थम् आदिश्य सुरानजस्तैः संवीतः पितृभिः okay समन्वितः पितृभिः सप्रजेशैः ययौ स्वदृष्ण्यान् निलयं पुरद्विषः कैलासामद्रि प्रवरं प्रियं प्रभोः जन्मौषधितपो मन्त्र योगसिद्धै नरेतरैः जुष्टं किन्नर गन्धर्वैः अप्सोर्भिर्वृतं सदा अप्सरोभिर्वृतं सदा नानामणिमयैः शृङ्गैः नानाधातुविचित्रैः नानाद्रुमलता गुल्मैः नानामृगगणावृतैः.
You can stop there. And the first line, vichitritaihi. Okay, and the last word, the first line.
Vichitritaihi. Okay. Yeah. Vichitraihi in solite, no?
Yeah.
Sorry.
नानामलप्रस्रवणैः नानाकन्दरसानुभिः रमणं विहरन्तीनां रमणैः सिद्धयोषितां मयूरकेकाभिरुतं मदान्धालिविमूर्छितं प्लावितैरक्तकण्ठानां कूजितैश्च पतत्रिणाम् आह्वयन्तम् इवोधस्तैः द्विजान् कामधुगैर्द्रुमैः व्रजन्तमिव मातङ्गैः गृणन्तमिव निर्झरैः मन्दारैः पारिजातैश्च सरलैश्चोपशोभितं तमालैः शालतालैश्च कोविदारासनार्जुनैः च्यूतैः कदम्बैर्नीपैश्च नागपुन्नागचम्पकैः पाटलाशोकबकुलैः कुन्दैः कुरबकैरपि स्वर्णार्णशतपत्रैश्च वरनेनुकचादिभिः कचातिभिः कुब्जकैर्मल्लिकाभिश्च माधवीभिश्च मण्डितं पनसोदुम्बराश्वत्थप्लक्षन् यग्रोदहिङ्गुभिः भूजैरोषधिभिः पूगैः राजपूगैश्च जम्बुभिः खर्जूराम्रातकाम्राद्यैः प्रियालमधुकेङ्गुदैः द्रुमच्चादिभिरन्यैश्च राजितं वेणुकीचकैः कुमुदोत्पलकल्हारशतपत्रवनर्धिभिः नलिनीशूकलं कूचत् खगवृन्दोपशोभितम्.
Meera, the first line, kahlara shatapat.
Kahlar. मृगैः शाखामृगैः क्रोडैः मृगेन्द्रैर्ऋक्षशल्यकैः गवयैः शरभैर्व्याघ्रैः रुरुभिर्महिषादिभिः कर्णान्त्रैकपदाश्वास्यैः निर्जुष्टं वृकनाभिभिः कदलीषण्डसमृद्धनलिनीपुलिनश्रियं पर्यस्तं नन्दया सत्याः स्नानापुण्यतरोदया विलोक्य भूतेश गिरिं विबुधा विस्मयं ययुः.
And the first line just after snana, I heard an R sound. Just snana punya.
Sorry. ददृशुस्तत्र ते रम्याम् अलकां नाम वै पुरीं वनं सौगन्धिकं चापि यत्र तन्नाम पङ्कजं नन्दाचालकनन्दा च सरितौ बाह्यतः पुरः तीर्थपादपदाम्भोज रजसातीव पावने ययोः क्षत्तः अवरुह्य स्वधिष्ण्यतः क्रीडन्ति पुंससिञ्चन्त्यो विगाह्य रतिकर्षिताः ययोस्तत्स्नानविभ्रष्टन् अवकुङ्कुमपिञ्जरं वितृशोऽपि पिबन्त्यम्बः पाययन्तो गजागजीः.
The first line, sorry, one second. Nava, I heard ava when you said it. Bibhrashta nava kunkuma.
Sorry, now
Yeah.
तारहेम महारत्नविमानशतसङ्कुलां जुष्टां पुण्यजनस्त्रीभिः यथाकं हित्वा यक्षोश्वपुरीं वनं सौगन्धिकं च तत्.
Yaksheshwara purim and then comma. Hitva yaksheshwara purim.
हित्वा यक्षेष्वपुरीं वनं सौगन्धिकं च तत् द्रुमैकामदुगैर्हृद्यं चित्रमाल्यफलच्छदैः रक्तकण्टखगानीकस्वरमण्डितषट्पदं कलहंसकुलप्रेष्ठ खरदण्डजलाशयम्.
Yeah, so that word I checked, it is preshtham only. So my book didn't have the im there. So I'll fix the recording so you all can fix it as well. 29th. So kala hamsa kula preshtham kharadanda jalashayam. Okay.
Okay. वनकुञ्जरसङ्घृष्टहरिचन्दनवायुना अधिपुण्यजनस्त्रीणां मुहुरुन्मथयन्मनः.
Yeah, so you stopped. Good. Okay. All right. So we'll finish off this not much meaning in this, but whatever is limited is there, we'll cover for the sixth one, and then we'll get to the last seven. So in the 4.5, we saw how Veerabhadra and everybody else came. Veerabhadra came out of Shiva's matted hair, one of the hair strands, and then everybody else go there. They completely destroy the sacrificial arena that is there, harm all of these people, and then Veerabhadra also cuts off Daksha's head and puts it off. That's kind of where we ended. And then they all come back to Kailasha. That's kind of where we ended 4.5. So in 4.6, so all the people who are left, right? So all the demigods who are there, all the priests who are there, all the people who have been hurt and injured, so they all go to Lord Brahma because they have to go to somebody else to go appease, because the right next after Brahma is Daksha, who himself is gone now. So they go one level up to Brahma. And, so intentionally it says here that Brahma and Mahavishnu didn't participate in the yajna for a reason, because they knew this is going to happen. So both of them had not come.
Rajesh, we lost you for a bit.
Oh, is it? Okay, I don't know why. Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know where you lost me, but okay, so they all go to Brahma because he's the next source up, and then it says how Brahma and Vishnu intentionally didn't come for attend the sacrifice because they knew all these things are going to be happening, right? So when they go to Brahma, now Brahma says that he says, look, what you all have done is a mistake. First of all, you have to accept the fact that what you committed was a mistake, that you didn't invite Lord Shiva, you didn't respect Lord Shiva, all of that you did was a mistake. Then he talks about the greatness of Shiva also a little bit, right? He says that, that Lord Shiva is so powerful that Veerabhadra just came from one of the strands of Shiva. If he had wished, he could have burnt all the three worlds down. So that is how powerful he is. So it says no use trying to fight or trying to create problems with such a person. And he says, even me, Brahma says, even me or Indra or all of you assembled here do not understand the greatness of Shiva. So at such a circumstance, why do you want to commit an offense? But now that you have committed it, Shiva is an Ashutoshi. So he says it's very easy. If you truly believe that you have committed a mistake and you remove all the mental reservations and everything you have and you go surrender onto his feet, Shiva will absolutely be pleased. So Brahma recommends that you all do that. Everybody agrees. So Brahma, along with all of these people who are there, the priests, the demigods, Indra, everybody decide to go make a visit to Kailasha. So that's where in from stanza 9, all the way it describes how Kailasha is, right? And so we have Mount Kailasha here on earth, right? So when you can, and some of the things that are going to come, the river names which are going to become are the same rivers that are going to be there, Nanda, Alakananda, all of that are going to come, right? So I'll give a little bit of that explanation. I'm not going to go through every stanza of explanation which talks about all the trees and everything that is there, how the birds are, how it's all peaceful. So let's leave all that away. But the main thing is the beings who are there are all already elevated beings, right? Those are the people who have access to Kailasha. So there are Kinnaras, Gandharvas, all of these people who are elevated beings who have access to Kailasha who can actually go there. Now, in that, from 22, it talks about there are two lakes. This is a lake called Alakananda, where where goddess Sati takes bath, right? And then the people, these devas and gods, whoever goes there, they're all just stunned at the beauty of Kailasha. So there is also a forest called a Saughantika, which really means full of fragrance, right? A forest which is full of fragrance in that region called Alaka. There are two rivers, Nanda and Alakananda, right? Which are the very, what you call, powerful mystical rivers. Now, in Bhagavatam, when they're talking about Kailasha, they're not talking about the Bhuloka Kailasha. So Kailasha is in an elevated plane where all these gods and Lord Shiva are all there, where you have to have access to, which none of us have access to. Now, the same thing, you can think of it as all of these things exist in a spiritual plane, which is the higher plane, and also in a physical realm that people like us can also access. Right? So the same Kailasha, which is existing down here, along with the Nanda river, Alakananda river, and all of those things are just a physical representation, which is also equally important and equally powerful. But it is only a partial representation of the actual Kailasha, right? The actual Kailasha is beyond this earth. It's in a different plane altogether. So that's what I'm just separating it out, right? So that this also is religious, this also is spiritual in nature. But the main Kailasha, where all of these Brahma and everybody goes to, is in a much more spiritual level than the earthly plane. Earthly plane, we all have access to. The other plane, we don't have access to. Anyway, so it talks about, this is where, if you all remember, I don't know how many of you remember the specific example, but in when this Nalakubra and Manigriva, the people who became the two trees in Narayaniyam, when they sons of Kubera, at that point it talks about how they were playing in the rivers of Kailasha. So they were playing in that river of Kailasha where they're all naked and all that, and Narada comes and they got insulted. Anyway, so all of that, so it's all kind of that region, right, which is there. Anyway, this goes to talk about all the greatness of the Kailasha. Now, after all of these things, the people who have gone there, Brahma, the Devas, are all stunned by it. Now they go. Finally, when they go, they see a huge banyan tree. And in that huge banyan tree, under the banyan tree, they see Lord Shiva is sitting very peacefully. So even though all of this thing has happened, there is absolutely no sign of anger or anything. He's just in his very calm pose. Surrounding him, it talks about how Kubera and the Sanat Kumaras are all sitting, right, gaining knowledge from Shiva at that point. So he's sitting in the pose of a Dakshinamurti at that time. So it talks about how he's sitting, all these Kumaras are sitting, Narada is sitting, and how Lord Shiva is sitting in a very peaceful pose. And later on, it talks about how he's sitting with his left leg placed on his right thigh and his left hand placed on his left leg. So that is kind of his usual sitting pose, right? He's sitting at an elevated seat, left leg on the right leg, left hand on the left leg, and then he's having the mudra pose of where he's actually communicating knowledge. So all of this, they actually see Lord Shiva sitting, all of these being sittings. So sorry, my internet connection keeps saying it's unstable.
I think it's patchy, Rajesh. You were talking, Anna, frozen.
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, anyway. Nobody's watching any Netflix or anything for sure. I know that. Nobody's home.
Maybe you go off video.
No, it's okay. We'll see. Anyway.
So that pose is the Dakshinamurti pose, right?
Yes,
Rajesh?
yeah. Essentially, that's the pose he's sitting. And then, it talks about how they're seeing him in that pose and everybody is sitting there, including Narada and the Sanat Kumaras and Kubera and everybody. And they're all gaining knowledge from him. And he's in a very calm pose, right? Now, but even then, when Brahma and everybody goes, Shiva realizes that, he welcomes. So all of that is happening. Now, then towards the end here, then Brahma does a small stuti to Lord Shiva here. So that comes from stanza 42, when it says Brahmo Vacha, he does just a small suti saying, you're beyond my understanding, you're the controller of all of this world, all of that. He does a small stuti, and then he then has a request for Shiva also, right? Towards the end, he says that it is a mistake that all of these people committed by not inviting you, by not giving you the appropriate offerings, and may not be respecting you. However, you please have to help everybody out, which is Daksha is gone now, his head is gone, so you have to bring Daksha back to life. Bhrigu has been hurt, then Bhaga, all of these people who have been hurt, Pusha and all of this, lot of people have lost their bodies. So you please calm down and please come over to the sacrificial arena and then bless everybody. So that is the request Brahma has towards the end after the stuti. So with that, this chapter 6 comes to an end, and chapter 7 is the final closing chapter of this series here. Okay, so I think we finished at 30, so we'll start from 31. Priya Sriram, you can be student, and Shanti, you can be student. Vaidurya Krita Sopanaha, so add a visarga there because we're passing, Sopanaha, comma, Vapya Utpala Malinihi Praptah Kim Purushair Drishtva, comma, Ta Ara Dadrushur Vatam. Vaiduryakrita sopanaha vapya utpalamalinihi praptah kim purushair drishtva ta aradadrushurvatam.
பிராப்தம்னு இருக்கு ராஜேஷ். பிராப்தம் கிம் புருஷைன்னு இருக்கு.
அப்படியா? 31. என்னோட பிராப்தாஹான்னு இருக்கு. Praptah. I'll check it, but for now we'll keep
என்
praptah.
புக்ல எல்லாம் பிராப்தாக கிம் புருஷைர்தான்.
Okay, yeah. So just change it, Ramesh. I'll check it once, okay?
Okay, sure, thank you.
वैदूर्यकृतसोपानाः वाप्य उत्पलमालिनीः प्राप्ता किं पुरुषैर्दृष्ट्वा त आराद्धदृशुर्वटम्.
वैदूर्यकृतशोपानाः वाभ्य उत्पलमालिनीः प्राप्ता किं पुरुषैर्दृष्ट्वा त आराद्धदृशुर्वटम्.
स योजन शतोत्सेदः, पादोन विटपायतः पर्यक् कृताचलच्छायो, निर्नीडस्तापवर्जितः. स योजन शतोत्सेदः पादोन विटपायतः पर्यक् कृताचलच्छायो निर्नीडस्तापवर्जितः.
स योजनशतोत्सेधः पादो न विटपायतः पर्यक्कृताचलच्छायो निर्नीडस्तापवर्जितः.
स योजनः सतोत्सेदः पादो न विडपायतः पर्यकृताचलच्छायो निर्नीडस्तापवर्जितः.
तस्मिन् महायोगमये, मुमुक्षु शरणे सुराः ददृशुः शिवमासीनं, त्यक्तामर्षं, ब्रेकिंग एट दैट मा, त्यक्तामर्षं इवान्तकम्. तस्मिन् महायोगमये मुमुक्षु शरणे सुराः ददृशुः शिवमासीनं त्यक्तामर्षमिवान्तकम्.
तस्मिन् महायोगमये मुमुक्षु शरणे सुराः दुदृशुः शिवमासीनं त्यक्तामर्षमिवान्तकम्.
Second and first word, dadrushush.
ददृशुः.
तस्मिन् महायोगमये मुमुक्षुः शरणे सुराः तदृशु शिवमासीनं त्यक्तामर्षम् इवान्तकम्.
Last word, tyaktamarsham.
त्यक्तामर्षम् इवान्तकम्.
Sanandanadhyair maha siddhaihi, shantais shamshanta vigraham upasyamanam sakyacha, bhartra guhyaka rakshasam. So seeing Sananda and all of them sitting there.
ராஜேஷ், there is a சிவஸ்துதி மாதிரி ஒன்று போட்டிருக்கு. ஹரஹர மாம பார்வதி பதையேன்னு இருக்குது. Just before this.
Abdiya? Okay. Okay. This mind does not have it. But I think because they're describing Shiva and everybody's sitting, maybe it is there. But no, I've not heard it in the Parayanam also normally.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
must be an additional. Yeah.
Thank you.
सनन्दनाद्यैर्महासिद्धैः शान्तैः संशान्तविग्रहम् उपास्यमानं सख्या च भर्त्रा गुह्यकरक्षसाम्
सनन्दनाद्यैर्महासिद्धैः शान्तैः संशान्तविग्रहम् उपास्यमानं सख्या च भर्त्रा गुह्यकरक्षसाम्
सनन्दनात्यैर्महासिद्धैः सान्दैः संशान्तविग्रहम् उभास्यमानं सख्या च भर्त्रा गुह्यक रक्षसाम्
विद्या तपो योग पथम ब्रेक धर्मा कॉमा नेक्स्ट वर्ड आस्तितं तमधीश्वरम चरन्तं विश्व सुहृदम कॉमा वात्सल्याल लोक मंगलम double la there it's vatsalyat but it becomes ill because of the la later विद्या तपो योग पथम आस्तितं तमधीश्वरम चरन्तं विश्वसुहृदं वात्सल्यालोकमङ्गलम्
विद्यातपो योगपथम् आस्थितं तमधीश्वरम् चरन्तं विश्वसुहृदम् वात्सल्याल्लोकमङ्गलम्
विद्यातपो योगपदम् आस्तितं दमदीश्वरम् शरन्दं विश्वसुहृदम् वात्सल्याल्लोकमङ्गलम्.
So all of these are just describing here. He's looking very mangalam, he's looking very auspicious. And the next stanza will describe him a little bit. Lingam cha tapasa bhishtam, comma, bhasma danda jatajinam, angena sandhyabra rucha, comma, chandra lekam cha bhibratam. So, when he's sitting there, his body is very smeared with ashes, right? So because of that, he's looking like an evening cloud. So evening cloud is dark gray in color. So because of that, he's looking in that color. And then on his head is a symbolic representation of a half moon, Chandralekha. Lingam cha tapasa bhishtam bhasma danda jata jinham angena sandhyabhra rucha chandralekham cha bibhratam.
लिङ्गं च तापसाभीष्टं भस्मदण्डजटाजिनम् अङ्गेन सन्ध्याभ्ररुचा चन्द्रलेखां च बिभ्रतम्
लिङ्गं च तापसाभीष्टं भस्मदण्डजटाजिनम् अङ्गेन सन्ध्याभ्ररुचा चन्द्रलेखां च बिभ्रतम्.
उपविष्टं दर्भमय्यां कॉमा भृस्यां ब्रह्म सनातनं नारदाय प्रवोचन्तं कॉमा पृच्छते शृण्वतां सतां. So sitting on a deer skin as a mat, and then he's then talking to Narada and all of those things about the it's on darbha on a straw mattress, and then he's talking to all of them about the absolute truth. उपविष्टं दर्भमय्यां भृस्यां ब्रह्म सनातनं नारदाय प्रवोचन्तं पृच्छते शृण्वतां सताम्.
उपविष्टं दर्भमय्यां भृस्यां ब्रह्म सनातनं नारदाय प्रवोचन्तं पृच्छते शृण्वतां सताम्.
उपविष्टं दर्भमय्यां भृस्यां ब्रह्म सनातनं नारदाय प्रवोचन्तं पृच्छते शृण्वतां सदाम्.
कृत्वोरौ दक्षिणे सव्यं पाद पद्मं च जानुनी बाहुं प्रकोष्ठे अक्ष टुगेदर प्रकोष्ठेक्ष मालं ब्रेकदत्मा आसीनं तर्क मुद्रया. So that is the
Rajesh, ma lama ma lamma.
malam.
Ma lam irukku. Ma lam asinam.
I have malam.
Okay, let me just check one sec. I don't know why my book is different.
Akshamalādane.
Akshamala, that's right, because he's holding the Rudrakshamul. Yeah, so it should be Akshamala only. Right?
எனக்கும் மாலாம் தான் இருக்கு.
Okay, mine is wrong. But it is logically, it is Malam because he's holding the beads there. So this is the pose that he's sitting with, holding the moods and holding the Tarka Mudraya. Tarka is argument, but it doesn't necessarily mean argument. It is like he's communicating something. So in that mudra, he's sitting. Kritvorhau dakshine savyam pada padmam cha januni bahum prakoshte kshamalam asinam tarka mudraya.
कृत्वोरौ दक्षिणे सव्यं पादपद्मं च जानुनि बाहुं प्रकोष्ठे क्षमालाम् आसीनं तर्कमुद्रया
कृत्वोरौ दक्षिणे सव्यं पादपद्मं च जानुनि बाहुं प्रकोष्ठे क्षमालाम् आसीनं दर्गमुद्रया
Tarkamudraya, last one.
तर्कमुद्रया
Tam,
मुद्र
tam,
तर्क
tarka,
तर्कमुद्रया
mudraya. Yeah. Mudra is that pose, hand pose, hand gesture. Tam Brahma Nirvana Samadhim Ashritam, comma, Vyupashritam Girisham Yoga Kaksham Saloka Pala Munayo Manunam, break at that ma, comma, Adhyam Manum Pranjalayaf Pranemuhu. Tam Brahma Nirvana Samadhimashritam Vyupashritam Girisham Yoga Kaksham Salokapala Munayo Manunam Adhyam Manum Pranjalayaf Pranemuhu.
तं ब्रह्मनिर्वाणसमाधिमाश्रितं व्युपाश्रितं गिरिशं योगकक्षां सलोकपालामुनयो मनूनाम् आद्यं मनुं प्राञ्जलयः प्रणेमुः
तं ब्रह्मनिर्वाणसमाधिमाश्रितं व्युभाश्रितं गिरिशं योगकक्षां सलोकबालामुनयो मनूनाम् आद्यं मनुं प्राञ्जलयः प्रेणमुख
Pranemuhu.
प्रणेमुः
Sir, Tupalabhyagatam, break at that ma, Tupalabhyagatam Atma Yonim, comma, Surasureshair, break at that ra, Surasureshair Abhivanditangrihi Utthaya Chakre Shirasabhivandanam, begin break at that ma, im, comma, next word starts with the a, Arhatamah Kasya Yathaiva Vishnuhu. Satupalabhyagatamatmayonim surasureshairabhivanditangrihim utthaya chakre shirasabhivandanam arhattamah kasya yathaiva vishnuhu.
स तूपलभ्यागतमात्मयोनिं सुरासुरैषैरभिवन्दिताङ्घ्रिः उत्थाय चक्रे शिरसाभिवन्दनम् अर्हत्तमः कस्य यथैव विष्णुः
सधूबलप्यागतम् आत्मयोनिं सुरासुरेसैरभिवन्दिताङ्घ्रिः उद्धाय चक्रे शिरसाभिवन्दनम् अर्हत्तमः कस्य यदैव विष्णुः.
So the only reason the reference to Vishnu is coming here is he's giving an example saying in Vamana Avataram, although Vamana came from Kashyapa, Kashyapa is the father. So he still, and later on Kashyapa bows to Vamana, but when he came, he also prostrated, he did namaskarams to Kashyapa, although Vamana is the incarnation. So similarly, here when Brahma comes, Shiva is standing up and respecting Brahma, although Shiva is in a much elevated state, he's still respecting that. He's just giving it as a comparison, that's all. Tatha pare siddha gana maharshibihi visarga comma. Next on the A, that ir will go away. Evai samantadanu neela lohitam namaskritah praha shashanka shekaram comma krita pranamam prahasannivatma bhuhu. तथा परे सिद्धगना महर्षिभिः ये वै समन्ताधनुनीललोहितं नमस्कृतः प्राह शशाङ्कशेखरं कृतप्रणामं प्रहसन्निवात्मभूः.
तथा परे सिद्धगणा महर्षिभिः ये वै समन्तादनुनीललोहितं नमस्कृतः प्राह शशाङ्कशेखरं कृतप्रणामं प्रहसन्निवात्मभूः
तथा परे सिद्धगणा महर्षिभिः ये वै समन्दादनुलीललोहितं नमस्कृतः प्राह सशङ्गशेखरं कृतप्रणामं बृहसन्निवात्मभूः.
And the second line just before the comma, Shashanka Shekaram. Okay, awesome.
शशाङ्गशेखरम्.
Yeah. Brahmo Vacha. So from 42 to end of 49 is the stuti that Brahma does. Okay, it's eight stanzas of stuti. Brahmo Vacha, Jnane Twamisham Vishwasya, comma, Jagato Yoni Bhijayoho, Shaktesh Shivasya Chaparam, comma, Yatat Brahma Nirantaram.
ஜானேன்னு இருக்கு ஸ்டார்டிங்.
Jane Twamisham.
ஜானே. ஓகே. ஞானேன்னு சொன்ன மாதிரி இருந்தது நீங்க.
Oh, Jane Twam. Brahmovacha Jane Twamisham Vishwasya Jagato Yoni Bijayoho Shakte Shivasya Chaparam Yatad Brahma Nirantaram.
Is it yatad or yattad?
Yatad.
Brahma uvacha jane tvamisham vishwasya jagato yoni bijayoho shakte shivasya cha param yatat brahma nirantaram.
ब्रह्मोवाच जाने त्वाममीशं विश्वस्य जगतो योनिबीजयोः शक्तेः शिवस्य च परं यदद्ब्रह्म निरन्तरम्.
Some word you said something different. Twamisham Vishwasya Jagato.
Can I do it again?
Just first line Cholungo.
जाने त्वामीशं विश्वस्य जगतो योनिबीजयोः शक्ते शिवस्य च परं यतत् ब्रह्म निरन्तरम्.
We have yattatnu irukku. Edu correct?
Yatadna irukku nodula.
Yattat Brahma Nirantaram.
Okay, I'll follow up and tell, okay? Because mine has only yatad, so. Twameva Bhagavan Netat. You'll have a ich there, but that becomes a it. So Bhagavan Netat, comma, Shiva Shaktyos Sarupayoho Vishwam Srijasi you're not on me. Vishwam Srijasi Pasyatsi, comma, Kridannurna Patoyatha. Twameva Bhagavannetat Shiva Shaktyos Sarupayoho Vishwam Srijasi Pasyatsi Kridannurna Patoyatha.
त्वमेव भगवन्नेतत् शिवशक्त्योः स्वरूपयोः विश्वं सृजसि पास्यत्सि क्रीडन्नूर्णपटो यथा.
त्वमेव भगवन्नेतत् शिवशक्त्योः स्वरूपयोः विश्वं सृजसि पास्यत्सि क्रीडन्नूर्णपडो यथा.
Twameva Dharmartha Dugabhipattaye, comma, Dakshena Sutrena Sasarjithadvaram Tvayaiva Loke Vasitascha Setavo, comma, Yan Brahmanash Shraddadhate Dhritavrataha. Twameva Dharmartha Dugabhipattaye Dakshena Sutrena Sasarjithadvaram Tvayaiva Loke Vasitascha Setavo Yan Brahmana Shraddadhate Dhritavrataha.
त्वमेव धर्मार्थदुघाभिपत्तये दक्षेण सूत्रेण ससर्जिता त्वरं त्वयैव लोके वसिताश्च सेतवो यान् ब्राह्मणा श्रद्धदतेன்னு இருக்கு எனக்கு.
Yeah, correct. Shraddadhate.
Sorry. यान् ब्राह्मणाः श्रद्धदते धृतव्रताः
त्वमेव धर्मार्थदुःखाभिबद्धये दक्षेण सूत्रेण सजर्जिता त्वरम् त्वयैव लोके वसिताश्च सेदवो यान् ब्राह्मणाः श्रद्धदते धृतव्रताः
त्वं कर्मणां मङ्गलमङ्गलानां कर्तुस् स्म लोकं तनुषे स्वः परं वा अमङ्गलानां च तमिस्रम् उल्बणं विपर्ययः केन तदेव कस्यचित् त्वं कर्मणां मङ्गलमङ्गलानां कर्तुस्म लोकं तनुषे स्वः परं वा अमङ्गलानां च तमिस्रमुल्बणं विपर्ययः केन तदेव कस्यचित्
त्वं कर्मणां मङ्गलमङ्गलानां कर्तुः स्म लोकं तनुषे स्वः परं वा अमङ्गलानां च तमिस्रमुल्बणं विपर्ययः केन तदैव कस्यचित्
त्वं कर्मणां मङ्गलमङ्गलानां कर्तुस्मलोकं धनुषे स्वपरं वा अमङ्गलानां च तमिश्रमुल्पणं विपर्ययः केन ददेव कस्यचित्.
Yeah, we'll switch on that. Priya Srikumar, you can be student, and Umar, you can be student. Navai satam त्वच चरणार्पितात्मनां भूतेषु सर्वेष्वभिपश्यतां one word सर्वेष्वभिपश्यतां तव भूतानि चात्मन्यपृथक् up to that is one word चात्मन्यपृथक् दिदृक्षतां प्रायेण रोषोभिभवेत्यथा it's also one word cannot break that word रोषोभिभवेत्यथा पशुम् न वै सतां त्वच्चरणार्पितात्मनां भूतेषु सर्वेष्वपि पश्यतां तव भूतानि चात्मन्यपृथक् दिदृक्षतां प्रायेण रोषोऽभिभवेत् यथा पशुम्.
Should I go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
न वै सदां त्वच्चरणार्पितात्मनां भूतेषु सर्वेष्वपि पश्यतां तव भूतानि चात्मन्यपृथक् दिदृक्षतां प्रायेण रोषोऽपि भवेद्यथा पशुम्.
Rajesh, did you ask me?
Yeah,
Oh,
you.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. न वै सतां त्वच्चरणार्पितात्मनां भूतेषु सर्वेष्वभिपश्यतां तव भूतानि चात्मन्यपृथग् दिदृक्षतां प्रायेण रोषोऽभिभवेद्यथा पशुम्.
And the word, if you want, bhavet itanda ya bhavet yatha pashum, you can break it that way also.
Okay.
Pritak diyah karma drisho durashayaha, parodayena hridrujonisham, one word, hridrujonisham, paran duruktair bitudhantya runtudaha, cannot break that word, but the is that is there that goes away becomes a visarga. So vitudhantya runtudaha, tanma vadid daiva vadan bhavadvidaha. पृथग्धियः कर्मदृशो दुराशयाः परोदयेनार्पितहृद्रुजोनिशम् परान्दुरुक्तैर्वितुदन्त्यरुन्तुदाः तान् मा वदीदैव वधान् भवद्विदः.
पृथग्धियः कर्मदृशो दुराशयाः परोदयेनार्पितहृद्रुजोनिशम् परान् दुरुक्तैर्वितुदन्त्यरुन्दुदाः तान् मा वधीद्दैव वधान् भवद्विदः.
पृथग्धियः कर्मदृशो दुराशयाः परोदयेनार्पितहृद्रुजु sorry.
You can hridrujo, you can break it that way also. Hridrujo.
Okay. परोदयेनार्पितहृद्रुजोनिशं परान्दुरुक्तैर्वितुदन्त्यरुन्तुदाः तान् मा वधीद्दैव वधान् भवद्विदः.
Normally, Brahma stutis are tough, but this one is relatively easy. The other earlier stutis of Brahma were very hard. Yasmin yada pushkara nabha mayaya, durantaya sprishta dhiyaf pritak trishah kurvanti tatra hyanukampaya kripam, na sadhavo daiva balat krite kramam. यस्मिन् यदा पुष्करनाभमायया दुरन्तया स्पृष्टधियः पृथग्दृशः कुर्वन्ति तत्र ह्यनुकम्पया कृपां न साधवो दैवबलात् कृते क्रमम्
यस्मिन् यथा पुष्करनाभमायया दुरन्तया स्पृष्टधियः पृथग्दृशः कुर्वन्ति तत्र ह्यनुकम्पया कृपां न साधवो दैवबलात्कृते क्रमम्
यस्मिन् यदा पुष्करनाभमायया दुरन्तया स्पृष्टधियः पृथग्दृशः कुर्वन्ति तत्र ह्यनुकम्पया कृपां न साधवो दैवबलात्कृते क्रमम्
भवांस्तु पुंसः परमस्य मायया दुरन्तया स्पृष्ट मतिः समस्तदृक् तया हतात्मस्वनु कर्म, one word, हतात्मस्वनु कर्म chetaha, and then swa is there, so it becomes, and the visarga will take a is sound, but that is and va that is coming later, we're going to break it into a su and a a. So chetas su, comma, so hatatmaswanu karma chetas su, comma, anugraham, next word, anugraham kartum iharhasi prabhu. As the swa becomes a su and a. Bhavamstu pumsah paramasya mayaya durantaya sprishtamati samastadrik taya hatatmaswanu karma chetasu anugraham kartum iharhasi prabhu.
भावांस्तु पुंसः परमस्य मायया दुरन्तया स्पृष्टमतिः समस्तदृक् तया हतात्मस्वनुकर्म चेतसो अनुग्रहं कर्तुमिहार्हसि प्रभो.
So that word Priya in the second line, karma chetasu.
Karma chetasu.
Yeah, that is and su. Two
Chetasu.
yeah.
भवांस्तु पुंसः परमस्य मायया दुरन्तया स्पृष्टमतिः समस्तदृक् तया हतात्मस्वनुकर्म चेतस्सु अनुग्रहं कर्तुमिहार्हसि प्रभो.
So that ends the stuti. And then the next few stanzas, Brahma is telling you, please come, forgive everybody, and just please come and join at the arena, the yajnam, and help complete it. That's the request in the next four.
அவர் என்ன ஸ்துதி பண்ற?
Just Shruti na general, you know, like it says, you are yoni bhija yoho, you are the source of everything, you are greater than all of that. Words cannot explain your great. Adu mara general stuti da, adu nothing specific. That's why it's a stuti that says general praise of Brahma. You know, you are the ruler of all of the bhutas. Adu mara nariya praise.
Okay, thank you.
Kurvadhvarasyoddharanam, one word. Kurvadhvarasyoddharanam hatasya bhoho, that is goes away, visarga, comma. Tvaya samaptasya mano prajapatehe na yatra bhagam tava bhagino daduhu, comma. Kuyajvino yena makho niniyate. So the reason I separated out where it ends and where it is starting is anything which is a stuti, you can just say every day or every time because it's just a prayer. Mattadu is like a conversation, right? From 50 on, it's a conversation between Brahma and Shiva. Other portion is a stuti which can be prayed. Kurvadhvarasyoddharanam hatasya bhoho tvaya samaptasya mano prajapatehe na yatra bhagam tava bhagino daduhu kuyajvino yena makho niniyate.
कुर्वध्वरस्योद्धरणं हतस्य भोः त्वया समाप्तस्य मनो प्रजापतेः न यत्र भागं तव भागिनो ददुः कुयज्विनो येन मखो निनीयते.
कुर्वध्वरस्योद्धरणं हतस्य भोः त्वया समाप्तस्य मनो प्रजापतेः न यत्र भागं तव भागिनो ददुः कुयज्विनो येन मखो निनीयते
जीवतात् यजमानोऽयं, just breaking at the dya, जीवतात् यजमानोऽयं, प्रपद्येताक्षिणी भगः भृगोश्मश्रूणि रोहन्तु, पूष्णो दन्ताश्च पूर्ववत्. So the Pushna, his teeth, like we said, they came and broke some people's teeth. They chopped, Daksha said, some people lost their limbs. So he's saying for each of them, you please restore back whatever has been damaged. जीवताद्यजमानोऽयं प्रपद्येताक्षिणी भगः भृगोश्मश्रूणि रोहन्तु पूष्णो दन्ताश्च पूर्ववत्.
जीवताद्यजमानोऽयं प्रपद्येताक्षिणी भगः भृगोश्मश्रूणिरोहन्तु पूष्णो दन्ताश्च पूर्ववत्.
जीवताद्यजमानोऽयं प्रपद्येताक्षिणी भगः भृगोश्मश्रूणि रोहन्तु पूष्णो दन्ताश्च पूर्ववत्
Devanam bhagda gatranam, that mr sound that is there, we're going to break it. Gatranam. Next word is start with the r. Ritwijam chayudhashmabihi. Ritwijam are the people who performed the sacrifice, the priests. Ritwijam chayudhashmabihi. Bhavatanu grihitanam. Again, break at that ma. Next word starts with the a. Ashu manyostvanaturam. One word. देवानां भग्नगात्राणां ऋत्विजां चायुधाश्मभिः भवतानुगृहीतानाम् आशुमन्योस्त्वनातुरम्.
देवानां भग्नगात्राणां ऋत्विजां चायुधाश्मभिः भवतानुगृहीतानाम् आशुमन्योस्त्वनातुरम्.
देवानां भग्नगात्राणां ऋत्विजां चायुधाश्मभिः भवतानुगृहीतानाम् आशुमन्योस्त्वनातुरम्
येष ते रुद्रभागोस्तु यदुच्छिष्टोध्वरस्य वै. One word, cannot break it. यदुच्छिष्टोध्वरस्य वै यज्ञस्ते रुद्रभागेन कल्पतामध्य यज्ञः. So please come and let the sacrifice be completed. एष ते रुद्रभागोस्तु यदुच्छिष्टोध्वरस्य वै यज्ञस्ते रुद्रभागेन कल्पताम् अद्य यज्ञः.
एष ते रुद्रभागोऽस्तु यदुच्छिष्टोध्वरस्य वै यज्ञस्ते रुद्रभागेन कल्पतामद्य यज्ञः.
एष ते रुद्रभागोऽस्तु यदुच्छिष्टोध्वरस्य वै यज्ञस्ते रुद्रभागेन कल्पतामध्ययज्ञः
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे रुद्रसान्त्वनं नाम षष्ठोऽध्यायः.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे रुद्रसान्त्वनं नाम षष्ठोऽध्यायः.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे रुद्रसान्त्वनं नाम षष्ठोऽध्यायः.
Last chapter of this series, Saptamodhyayah. This also has a lot of stutis which come there in the middle. Maitreyo vacha ityajenanu nitena, bhavena paritushyata abhyadhayi mahabaho, prahasya shruyatamiti. Maitreyo vacha. Sorry guys, I have to just take this call. 1 second, sorry. Sorry about that. Kashyap is leaving from Bangalore right now, so I was worried if his flight got cancelled or something, but he was just gently calling. Airport lo kaanandrikkan, so. Did you do the first stanza? First stanza mudichitoma?
Illa.
Okay. Maitreya uvacha ityajena bhavena paritushyata abhyadhayi mahabaho prahasya shruyatamiti.
मैत्रेय उवाच इत्यजेनानुनीतेन भवेन परितुष्यता अप्यथायि महाबाहो प्रहस्य श्रूयतामिति
मैत्रेयोवाच इत्यजेनानुनीतेन भवेन परितुष्यता अभ्यधायि महाबाहो प्रहस्य श्रूयतामिति।
Sri Mahadeva uvacha Nagam prajesha balanam, varnaye nanuchintaye deva mayabhibhutanam, dandas tatra dhrutomaya. Sri Mahadeva uvacha Nagam prajesha balanam varnaye nanuchintaye deva mayabhibhutanam dandas tatra dhrutomaya.
श्रीमहादेव उवाच नाकं प्रदेशबालानां वर्णयेनानुचिन्तये देवमायाभिभूतानां दण्डस्तत्र धृतो मया।
श्रीमहादेव उवाच नाघं प्रजेशबालानां वर्णयेनानुचिन्तये देवमायाभिभूतानां दण्डस्तत्र धृतो मया।
प्रजापतेर दग्ध शीर्ष्णो, भवत्वज मुखं शिरः मित्रस्य चक्षुषे क्षेत, शे क्षे चक्षुषे क्षेत, भागं स्वं बर्हिषो भगः. प्रजापतेर्दग्धशीर्ष्णो भवत्वजमुखं शिरः मित्रस्य चक्षुषे क्षेत भागं स्वं बर्हिषो भगः.
प्रजापतेर्दग्धशीर्ष्णो भवत्वजमुखं शिरः मित्रस्य चक्षुषे क्षेत भागं स्वं बर्हिषो भगः।
प्रजापतेर्दग्धशीर्ष्णो भवत्वजमुखं शिरः मित्रस्य चक्षुषे क्षेत भागं स्वं बर्हिषो भगः।
पूषा तु यजमानस्य, दद्भिर्जक्षतु पिष्टभुक् देवाः प्रकृत सर्वांगाः. So add a visarga there, सर्वांगाः येम उच्छेषणं ददुः. पूषा तु यजमानस्य दद्भिर्जक्षतु पिष्टभुक् देवाः प्रकृत सर्वांगाः येम उच्छेषणं ददुः.
पूषादु यजमानस्य दद्भिर्जक्षतु पिष्टभुक् देवाः प्रकृतसर्वाङ्गाः येम उच्छेषणं ददुः.
पूषा तु यजमानस्य दद्भिर्जक्षतु पिष्टभुक् देवाः प्रकृतसर्वाङ्गाः येम उच्छेषणं ददुः.
बाहुभ्याम् अश्विनोः पूष्णो, हस्ताभ्याम् कृत बाहवः भवन्त. So that next word that is coming there, you cannot break it, so it will go together. Bhavantwadhvar yavaschanye, one long word, Bhavantwadhvar yavaschanye, the next word, my book had va, but it is actually a ba there. Basta smashrur bhrigur bhavet. So if you have a va, change it to a ba. First ba. बाहुभ्याम् अश्विनोः पूष्णो हस्ताभ्याम् कृतबाहवः भवन्त्वध्वर्यवश्चान्ये बस्तस्मश्रुर्भृगुर्भवेत्.
बाहुभ्याम् अश्विनोः पूष्णो हस्ताभ्यां कृतबाहवः भवन्त्वध्वर्यवश्चान्ये बस्तश्मश्रुर्भृगुर्भवेत्. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
बाहुभ्याम् अश्विनोः पूष्णो हस्ताभ्यां कृतबाहवः भवन्त्वद्वर्यवश्चान्ये बस्तश्मश्रुर्भृगुर्भवेत्
मैत्रेयो उवाच तदा सर्वाणि भूतानि श्रुत्वा मीडुष्टमोदितं परितुष्टात्मभिस्तात साधु साध्वित्यथा ब्रुवन् one word मैत्रेयो उवाच तदा सर्वाणि भूतानि श्रुत्वा मीडुष्टमोदितं परितुष्टात्मभिस्तात साधु साध्वित्यथा ब्रुवन्
मैत्रेय उवाच तदा सर्वाणि भूतानि श्रुत्वा मीडुष्टमोदितं परितुष्टात्मभिस्ताद साधु सात्वित् यथा ब्रुवन्
मैत्रेय उवाच तदा सर्वाणि भूतानि श्रुत्वा मीढुष्टमोदितं परितुष्टात्मभिस्तात साधु साध्वित्यथा ब्रुवन्
Okay, we'll switch last round. Atay, you can be a student, and Revati, you can be a student.
Okay.
Tato midvamsam amantrya, sunasiras saharshibihi bhuyas taddeva yajanam, samidvat vedhaso yayuhu. Id sound that is. Tato. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Tato.
I'll say it and then you can repeat. Sorry. Yeah. ततो मीड्वांसमामन्त्र्य सुनासीरा सहर्षिभिः भूयस्तद्देव यजनं समीड्वद्वेधसो ययुः.
Okay, sorry. ततो मीड्वांसमाम् आमन्त्र्य सुनासीरा सहर्षिभिः भूयस्तद्देव यजनं समीड्वद्वेधसो ययुः.
Revati, you there? Okay. Wait. So they have Sabita, you can do it then.
My name?
Your name, yeah, you only, Revati. Ore Revati da. Ningada.
Okay. तदो मीत्वां समामन्त्र्य सुनासीराः सहर्षिभिः भूयस्तत्तेव यजनं समीट्वद्वेदशो ययुः.
And the first line is Sunasi Ras is, okay, that Sandhi there instead of Visarga. Okay. Vidhaya Kartsnena Cha Tat. So the Dya that is there, we are breaking into It and Aya. Tat, Yadaha Bhagavan Bhavaha Sandaduh Kasya Kayena, Savaniya Pashoshiraha. Vidhaya Karsnena Chatat Yadaha Bhagavan Bhavaha Sandaduh Kasya Kayena Savaniya Pashoshiraha.
विधायकात्स्येन च तद् यदाह भगवान् भवः तन्दधुःखस्य कायेन सवनीय पशोः शिरः.
विधायकार्षण्येन च तद् यदाह भगवान् भवः सन्ततुष्कस्य कायेन स्वनीय बसोशिरः.
Savaniya Pashoshiraha.
सवनीय पशोशिरः.
Yeah, and then the first word Kartsnena.
कार्त्स्न्येन.
Yeah. Sandhiyamane Shirasi, Daksho Rudrabhivikshitah Sadhyas Supta Ivotastau, Dadrishe Chagrato Mridam. Sandhiyamane Shirasi Daksho Rudrabhivikshitah Sadhyas Supta Ivotastau Dadrishe Chagrato Mridam.
सन्धीयमाने शिरसि दक्षो रुद्राभिवीक्षितः सद्यः सुप्त इवोतस्थौ ददृशे चाग्रतो मृडम्.
सन्धीयमाने शिरसि दक्षो रुद्राभिवीक्षितः सत्यः सुप्त इवोतस्थौ ददृशे चाग्रतो मृडम्.
Tada Vrisha Dvaja Dvesha, put a plus, Kalilatma Prajapatihi Shivavalokat abhavat. I'm just breaking at the da if you want. Shivavalokat abhavat. That ich becomes a it. Abhavat, comma. Next word becomes a sha. Sharat dhrata ivamalaha. Tadha vrishadvajadveshakalilatma prajapatihi. Shivavalokat abhavat. Sharadhrata ivamalaha.
तदा वृषध्वजद्वेष कलिलात्मा प्रजापतिः शिवावलोकाद् अभवत् शरद्धृदैवामलः
तदा वृषध्वजद्वेष என்ன சொன்னீங்க
Tada vrisha
வேஷ
dvaja dvesha.
ஓகே तदा वृषध्वजद्वेष कलिलात्मा प्रजापतिः शिवावलोकात् भवश्रद्धृत इवामलः.
And the ichu becomes it if you're passing there. So
Bhavat.
it, then sharadhrata ivamala.
शिवावलोकात् भवत् श्रद्धृत इवामलः.
Sharadhrata.
Okay. Sharat. Okay.
Sharadhrata. Drada. The sound. Yeah. Bhavastavaya kritadhihi. Visarga comma. That ear goes away. Na shaknot anuragataha. If you want to break it, the da. Outkantyat bashpa kalaya, comma. Samparetam sutam smaran. Bhavastava. Sorry. Question.
This is 13th or 12th?
11th. 11th. Bhavastavaya kritadhihi. Na shaknot anuragataha. Outkantyat bashpa kalaya. Samparetam sutam smaran.
भवस्तवाय कृतधीः नाशक्नोदनुरागतः औत्कण्ठ्याद् बाष्पकलया सम्परेतां सुतां स्मरन्
भवस्त्वाय कृततीः नाशक्नोदानुरागतः औत्कण्ठ्यात् बाष्पकलया सम्प्रेतां सुतां स्मरन्.
And the word samparetam.
सम्परेतां सुतां स्मरन्.
Krichrat samstabhya cha manaha, prema bihvalitas sudhihi shashamsa nirvyalikena, bhavenesham prajapatihi. Krichrat samstabhya cha manaha prema bihvalitas sudhihi shashamsa nirvyalikena bhavenesham prajapatihi.
कृच्छात् संस्तभ्य च मनः प्रेम विह्वालितः सुधीः शशंस निर्व्यलीकेन भावेनेशं प्रजापतिः
कृच्छरात् संस्तदभ्यच्छ मनः प्रेम विह्वलितस्थितिः सशंस निर्व्यलीकेन भावनेशं प्रजापतिः. भावेनेशं प्रजापतिः.
And the first line, last word, sudhihi. You can the word. I know something is different, but sudhihi.
Okay.
Daksho vacha bhuyan anugraha aho bhavata kruto me, dandas tvaya mai bhruto yadapi pralabdaha na brahma bandushu chavam bhagavan navagnya, tubhyam harescha kuta eva dhritavrateshu. Daksho vacha bhuyan anugraha aho bhavata krito me dandastvaya mai bhruto yadapi pralabdaha na brahma bandhushu chavam bhagavan navagnya tubhyam harescha kuta eva dhritavrateshu.
दक्षौवाच भूयाननुग्रहो भवता कृतो मे दण्डस्त्वया मयि भृतो यदपि प्रलब्धः न ब्रह्मबन्धुषु च वां भगवन्नवज्ञा तुभ्यं हरेश्च कुत एव धृतव्रतेषु.
दक्ष उवाच भूयानुग्रह अहो भवता कृतो मे दण्डस्त्वया मयि भृतो यतपि प्रलप्तः न ब्रह्मबन्धुषु च वां बहवन्नवक्या दुभ्यां हरेश कुत एव धृतव्रतेषु
Tubhyam. Second line after the comma. Tubhyam. Yeah.
दुभ्याम् இல்லையா दुभ्यமா
Yes, tubhyam.
ओके तुभ्यं हरेश कुत एव धृतव्रतेषु
Vidya tapo brata dharan mukatas sma vipran, comma, brahmatma tattvam avitum pratamam tvamasrak tad brahmanan parama sarva vipatsu pasi, comma, palaf pashuniva vibho pragrihita dandaha. This will be like the 4 long lines, so 4-liner. विद्यातपो व्रतधरान् मुकतस्म विप्रान् ब्रह्मात्मतत्त्वमवितुं प्रथमं त्वमस्राक् तद्ब्राह्मणान् परमसर्वविपत्सुपासि पालः पशूनिव विभो प्रगृहीतदण्डः
विद्यातपो व्रतधरान् मुखतस्म विप्रान् ब्रह्मात्मतत्त्वमवितुं प्रथमं त्वमस्राक् तद्ब्राह्मणान् परमसर्वविपत्सुपासि पालः पशूनिव विभो प्रगृहीतदण्डः
विद्यादपो व्रततरान् मुहतस्म विप्रान् ब्रह्मात्मतत्त्वमवितुं प्रथमं त्वमस्राक् तद्ब्राह्मणान् परमसर्वविभत्सुभासि बालः पशूनिव विभो प्रगृहीतदण्डः
योऽसौ मया विदित तत्त्वदृशा सभायां, क्षिप्तो दुरुक्ति विशिखैर् break at the ra विशिखैर् अघनय्य तन्माम् अर्वाक् patantam. So the best way to say that is you break at that ma there, patantam arhatama nindayapad, comma, drishtyaadhraya. So drishtyaadhraya sa bhagavan swakritena tushyet. Yosau.
Drishtvadraya is or Drishtyadraya.
Drishtya. Ya sound. Yeah.
Okay.
योऽसौ मया विदित तत्त्वदृशा सभायां क्षिप्तो दुरुक्तिविशिखैरगनय्य तन्माम् अर्वाक्पतन्तमर्हत्तमनिन्दयापाद दृष्ट्यार्ध्रया स भगवान् स्वकृतेन तुष्येत्
योऽसौ मया विदित तत्त्वदृशा सभायां क्षिप्तो दुरुक्तिविशिखैरगणय्य तन्माम् अर्वाक्पतन्तमर्हत्तमनिन्दयापाद दृष्ट्यार्द्रया स भगवान् स्वकृतेन तुष्येत्
योऽसौ मया विदित तत्त्वदृशा सभायां क्षिप्तो दुरुक्तिविशिखैरविगणय्य तन्माम् अर्वाक्पतन्तमर्हत्तमनिन्दयापात् दृष्ट्यार्त्रया स भगवान् स्वकृतेन तुष्येत्.
The second line Revati, Bishikair Aghanaya Tanmam.
दुरुक्तिविशिखैर् अगणय्य तन्माम्.
Yeah. Maitreyo Vacha Kshamaapyevam sa Meedvam Sam. So my book had Sam. So you remove that Sam, just make it Im. Meedvam Sam, comma. Brahmana Chanumantritaha Karma Santanayamasa, comma. So next word is a tongue twister. Next word there. Sopadhyayar Tvigadibihi. So the way to remember that thing would be Ritvigadibihi. Okay, so that's where the ir sound is coming there, but anyway, it doesn't matter. You're not separating it, you're saying it together. So Sopadhyayar Tvigadibihi. So TVI Tvigadibihi. TVIG Tvigadibihi. Maitreyo Vacha Kshamaapyevam samidvamsam brahmana chanumantritah karma santanayamasa sopadhyayartvigadibhi.
क्षमाप्यैवं मैत्रेय उवाच क्षमाप्यैवं समीढ्वांसं ब्रह्मणा चानुमन्त्रितः कर्म सन्तानयामास सोपाध्यायत्विगादिभिः
मैत्रेय उवाच क्षमाप्यैवं समीड्वांसं ब्रह्मणा चानुमन्त्रितः कर्म सन्तानयामास सोपाध्याय त्विकादिभिः.
Vaishnavam yajna santatyai, trikapalam dvijottamaha purodasham niravapan, veera samsarga shuddhaye. Vaishnavam yajna santatyai trikapalam dvijottamaha purodasham niravapan veera samsarga shuddhaye.
वैष्णवं यज्ञसन्तत्यै त्रिकपालं द्विजोत्तमाः पुरोडाशं निरवपन् वीरसंसर्गशुद्धये.
वैष्णवं यज्ञसन्तत्यै त्रिकपालं द्विजोत्तमाः पुराडाशं निरवपन् वीरसंसर्गशुद्धये.
अध्वर्युनात्त हविषा, यजमानो विशाम्पते धिया विशुद्धया दध्यौ, तथा प्रादुरभूद्धरिः. So it's abudharihi, but it's double the under that. So Narayana makes an appearance in here in stanza 18. That's where the word harihi is coming there. Adhvaryunatta havisha yajamano vishampate dhiya vishuddhaya dadyau tatha pradurabuddharihi.
अध्वर्युणात्तः विषा यजमानो विशाम्पते धिया विशुद्धया दध्यौ तथा प्रादुरभूद्धरिः.
अध्वर्युणात्त हविषा यजमानो विशाम्पते धिया विशुद्धया दद्यौ तदा प्रादुरभूद्धरिः.
तदा स्वप्रभया तेषां, द्योतयन्त्या दिशो दश मुष्णं स्तेज उपानीतः, the is goes away, visarga comma, तार्क्ष्येण स्तोत्रवाजिना. तदा स्वप्रभया तेषां द्योतयन्त्या दिशो दश मुष्णं स्तेज उपानीतः तार्क्ष्येण स्तोत्रवाजिना.
तदा स्वप्रभया तेषां द्योतयन्त्या दिशो दश मुष्णं स्तेन उपानीतः तार्क्ष्येण स्तोत्रवाजिना.
And then the second line, first word, Mushnam stage. I heard a na sound.
Oh, Mushnam stage upanita stakshena stotravajina.
तथा स्वप्रभया देशां द्योतयन्त्या दिशो दश मुष्णं स्तेज उपानीतः दार्श्येन सोऽस्त्रवाजिना.
Okay, we'll stop here today. I'll just say the meaning to it because next 2-3 stanzas are description of Narayana, so it'll take time. Okay, let's start at 19, right? Okay, so I think the last one we ended with Brahma doing a stuti and saying, Shiva, you please come, right? And then bless everybody. So here it starts with Shiva is responding, right? It's very Mahadeva Vacha. So Lord Shiva is saying that he says, I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I'm not upset at anything because I know people acted out of immaturity or lack of understanding and all of that stuff. And he says that whatever was done by Veerabhadra and all of that was not out of anger or revenge. It was just so that they learn a lesson. So then he promises here saying that Daksha, whose head has been thrown and burnt into ashes, is going to get a new head. Right, and that's going to come a little later. But this is first telling right now that Daksha is going to get a new head, and then he will be able to complete the sacrifice through the new head that he gets. Then Bhaga, who's one of them, whose eyes were plugged, who had lost his eyesight, will now some of this even I don't understand how to explain it. So he says this Bhaga will be able to see through the eyes of Mitra. Mitra is another demigod. Bhaga is another demigod. He says this Bhaga, while he's lost his eyesight, he will be able to see through the eyes of Mitra. So I don't know what the subtle understanding of that is. Then it's a person called Pusha, who's one of the demigod there, who's normally associated with nourishment and feeding and all of that stuff, who had lost his teeth, right? Because they punched him and broken all his teeth. He says that demigod, Pusha, because he's lost his teeth, he will now be able to eat through his disciples. And essentially what this is meaning is that they have lost their respective abilities, so that's not going to come back. Your teeth has a function, your eyes have certain function, so they are not going to get it back, but they will be able to experience the stuff through somebody else. That's the only way I could infer that thing. I don't know specifically what is the subtle experience there. Anyway, so with that he says, and then same thing he says that people who have lost their arms, there are some people whose arms were lost. They will work through the arms of the Ashwini Kumara. So they will somehow do their duty. So essentially, again, they will help them out and all of these things. So this way, Shiva says that all of them will get back their respective things, or they'll be able to do their duties through some of that stuff. So when that happens, then Bhrigu, who is the main priest of this entire sacrifice, so he then requests Shiva to say that Shiva, you, Brahma, all of you, please come and then help complete the sacrifice. So when they come there, they then come. The first thing Shiva does is, and this is a good explanation here, because what he does is he puts the head of a goat onto Daksha's body, right? Now, if you put the head of a goat, the goat has a brain, right? Like our brain, the human brain that is there is different from the brain of a goat. So does this mean that Daksha will now get the brain of a goat? He actually doesn't, right? He still has his own consciousness. So what it is kind of telling to some extent is, while the brain of a goat and the brain of Daksha, who's the Prajapati, are different, even though the head of a goat was gotten, the intelligence and the consciousness of Daksha remained in it. And that head, although he had a head of a goat, he is limited with certain features, because goat can only do so many things with its mouth and all that. But the consciousness of Daksha was still there, right? And even though his body was lying, because his head was chopped off and his body was lying, he is regaining back into consciousness, and then he is able to now talk. So essentially he's got back, he's continuing from where he left off. He still remembers everything. So it's not like he's taking a new birth either, right? He's continuing, because he's going to take a birth later and become somebody else. But right now, he's continuing with the same consciousness. And then he sees Lord Shiva standing in front of him. And then he offers praise to Shiva, saying that I made a big mistake. I was completely ignorant in doing all of these things. And then that's when he also remembers or realizes that because of him, Sati had to give up her body. So he's even more upset. And, he then apologizes and all of that stuff. And then he does a small prayer, Daksha Vacha from 13, right? He just does a small prayer to Shiva, saying that without knowing your glories, without knowing all of this, I threw sharp words at you. I apologize. Please forgive me and all of that stuff. So all of that goes over. That's a small Daksha Stuti to Shiva that he does from 13 to 15 or something. And then essentially they're ready to start the yajna, because Shiva has given thumbs up. Everybody is back. Everybody is doing it. Then when they start doing the yajna, at that time, because the yajna is towards Lord Narayana, he's the primary source, or a primary destination is towards Lord Narayana. So when they finally do the yajna in the right way with everybody's blessings, then Lord Narayana is appearing. That's why Tada Pradur Abhut Harihi. So Hari is appearing, and then the next few stanzas, a description of Narayana, and then everybody who is there does a stuti to Narayana, which is pretty much the rest of the chapter. And then with his blessings, the yajna will come to a completion. That's how this entire thing ends. So you'll see Daksho Vacha, Ritvijo Uchu, Sadasya Uchu, Bhriguru Vacha, Rudro Vacha. Everybody does a stuti, right? In this rest of the entire chapter is a stuti there. So, okay, and end here. Hare Namaha, Hare Namaha, Hare Namaha. Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Govinda Govinda. Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Kahena Vacha Manasendriyer Va Buddhyatmana Va Prakrite Swabhavat. Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanaayeti Samarpayami.
Thank you, Rajesh.
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 Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.